Hello friends and welcome to the tutorial. Today we are going to be drawing a spring bird's nest using the Picasso Tab and Sketchbook Pro. I like to start with a pencil sketch, take a picture of the sketch using the tablet's camera and then import that photo into Sketchbook Pro. I can then put the layer's opacity down and that gives me a starting point for my sketch. This is how I personally like to work, but you can of course start out in the app with a blank canvas and then go from there. Now let's start drawing our bird's nest. To begin sketching, I have picked out a dark green colour and the pencil tool. I like to pick a small and easy area to begin with, usually at the top of the drawing. Here I begin with drawing the bird's cheek and then the beak and then moving on to the top of her head. From there I moved down to create the rest of the body and the nest. This is a fairly easy little sketch and everything is stylized, so you don't need to worry too much about getting things perfect. Feel free to pause the video or to slow down the speed if you need to catch up when you're sketching. For the outline, I am putting the opacity of the sketch layer down. You want to be able to see your outline clearly over the sketch, and then I locked the sketch layer and created a new layer for the outlines. I like to work in a dark brown for outlines, but you can pick a black or any other colour that you would like. I picked the fountain pen and turned the predictive stroke tool on. You can find this in the top menu and it helps to smooth out all the lines. Then I simply start in one area and trace all of the lines. Once the line art is finished, I moved on to adding in some colours. I first duplicated the outline layer and then locked down the top layer. I will be working in the bottom outline layer to bucket in the colours. Picking the paint bucket tool, which you can find in the top menu, I simply picked the colours I wanted and then bucketed them into the different areas on the drawing. I chose a light grey for the bird. You can play around and choose different colours. Blue would also work well here, or perhaps yellow. For the nest, I chose 3 greens. The lightest I placed in the front sections of the nest, and then the medium and the darkest greens towards the back. Once all the main colours were in, I added in some simple block shading. I did this on a new layer. It's usually a good idea to work on new layers, that way it's easy to undo or to hide things later on if you end up not liking them. To add in shadows on the bird, I picked a darker grey and drew in some thick lines with a fountain pen, especially under the wings, and then I picked a very light grey colour and added in highlight lines around the edges of the bird and on the top of her beak. I did the same thing for the branch, picking a lighter and a darker brown to add some shadow and highlight lines. For the nest, I thought it would be fun to try a different style to add in extra details. Picking a darker and a lighter green for each section, I went in and I drew little rounded shapes, sort of like a scale pattern. Mixing the 2 greens, I filled in all of the nest areas with this scale pattern. To finish up, let's add in a background. I started with a new layer and I picked a light orange and then took the circle shape from the top menu to create an oval behind the bird, and then I filled that oval in with the paint bucket tool. Make sure to place your background layer behind all the other ones in the layer list. I then added in a yellow circle to one side of the bird. Then, changing the colour to white, I used the circle shape tool to add in white circles all across the background. I also added a lighter yellow circle into the sun, and this created a semi-gradient look. And then I created a new layer and drew a white outline all around the bird and the nest. A white outline helps to pop out the foreground image from the background. And that completed the drawing. I hope you enjoyed drawing the bird nest today. Thank you for watching.